Hey guys, Bridget here, lead designer with over a decade of experience, and in this video I want to share with you how to learn the basics of auto layout in 2025 with the new Figma UI. Now, just before we get started, I also want to remind you that as I'm working on a Get Started on UI UX Design course, I recently republished a new version of the How to Get Started free ebook, which you can download entirely for free in the link in the description. But now without further ado, let's jump right into the video. In this video, we're going to learn how to use auto layout in Figma so that you can create interactive components just like this one. So auto layout in its essence, it's actually quite simple. And in order to understand it, we're going to start from scratch and I'm simply going to duplicate this text. And in order to create an auto layout, simply use Shift plus A, or alternatively, you can right click and you can see right here that you have Add Auto Layout. Now, the moment that you create an auto layout, you can see that you're going to have this icon in the layers panel, which is going to change based on the auto layout positioning and alignment options, which we're going to explore in just a moment. Now we're going to add a fill so that you can better understand and visualize what's happening, because essentially auto layout is going to create these boundary box, which is then going to essentially enable us to align and position the elements in its inside in a very easy and efficient way. So what we're gonna do first of all is we're going to add a little bit of more padding. So over here under the padding section, you can see that I can easily adjust the padding of this container box, aka the auto layout, both horizontally and vertically. So this is going to give us some breathing room for the object. And we're going to explore the direction and the gap now. So if I select the text and I use Command C and Command V in order to create a duplicate, you can see that almost magically this second layer has been added on the right hand side. Now the reason for this is because auto layout works exactly like Flexbox to some degree, and the reason that it copied it horizontally is because the direction plus cap is horizontal. However, if we change this to vertical, you can see that the moment that I add more elements, they're all going to be vertically set. So in this case, I can actually go ahead and remove these, and I'm going to simply steal this Figma logo, which you can find by simply Googling, or you can go on the plugin section and look for vector logos. And you can see that the moment that we add this image, this SVG, inside of the auto layout, it's going to behave exactly the same. So we can very easily create this button right here. But however, you're going to notice that we need a little bit of gap, which we can very easily adjust manually by adjusting this gap value, which you can find also right here on the right column. So that is going to be the very first element when it comes to auto layout. However, there's more to it. And if we go ahead and, for example, add a little bit of more elements and we add even more padding so that we can very easily see what's going on, you're going to notice that the alignment at this point, actually let's delete this, the alignment is going to be central. And the reason being is that the alignment is set to align center. However, if we align these values, you're going to notice that nothing really changed. And the reason being is that the padding values are so big that this auto layout is not going to make an impact in terms of the alignment. This is something that happens all the time and students usually get confused. So what we need to do is to simply adjust the width and the height without adjusting necessarily the padding values. And what you're going to notice now is that the moment that I adjust the alignment, then we're going to see the results that we were initially looking for, which is having a different alignment altogether and really leveraging all of the space within this auto layout element. Now, one more thing about the padding is that by default, you're going to see this horizontal padding, which is going to adjust both the left and the right hand side, and the vertical padding, which is going to adjust the top and the bottoms. But you can actually click on individual padding, and you're going to notice that you can individually adjust the left, top, and also the bottom and the right hand side. So this is going to give you more granular options. You don't want to use these values often, so just be aware that these should be almost like one-offs and the things that you want to keep in mind. So one more element to keep in mind when it comes to auto layout is going to be the absolute positioning. So you can actually position an element and essentially ignore the auto layout, similarly to what happens in web design when you set an element to absolute positioning. The moment that you click on it, you're going to notice that the auto layout is no longer going to apply to it. So all of the other elements are simply going to follow the auto layout and ignore this element. And I can move it around anywhere inside of the auto layout canvas. So if you need to create anything which is more custom or granular in terms of design and the auto layout is getting in the way, this is the way to go.